WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we celebrate the return of the wise man. It is Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. We are here. We got a lot to talk about. We got we're in a pay-per-view sandwich this week as AEW had Full Gear on Saturday. WWE has Survivor Series War Games this Saturday. And so we'll break them both down. In between, the meat and the sandwich will be the Continental Classic. The groups, the blocks A and B have been announced. We will break those down, give you our thoughts on that as well. But first, if you have not done so already, make sure you head to the WrestleZone YouTube page. That is all one word, WrestleZone. Give it a subscribe and then find our videos on the live tab and give us a thumbs up. That helps us out. Reach to the masses as we try to introduce the show to everybody. Introduce the show, even though we've been around for 10 years. But anyways, I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter and the Blue Sky at JB Huskers. And as always, my co-host, he's also on Twitter and Blue Sky at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Coming off a very good Full Gear pay-per-view. We've got Survivor Series Premium Live event this Saturday. So far, not a whole lot announced for it, but we'll break it down. And I definitely want to go on a little. I want to explain to people when we get to the Survivor Series why Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens isn't happening this Saturday.
Oh,
and it's happening at Saturday night's main event instead. So
okay.
don't let me forget to touch upon that when we're talking about Survivor Series.
Chat, that's on you. I'll probably forget. Speaking of chat, welcome everybody. Yeah, I got you, boy. Mark Cho, thanks for joining us as always. Mark Cho also does the fancy graphics that you see on YouTube when we set up the show. So thank you, Mark Cho, and the graphics are all around us here. Mark Cho has done all of that stuff, so we are very appreciative of Cho helping us out. Ozzy. Starting off Lost in the NFL mid-card, the Cowboys will win Thursday against the Giants. That is really a bold proclamation.
That's
actually, it's not a
given. I mean, look, if Dallas was able to play well enough on Sunday to beat the Commanders, I think they can beat the Giants on Thursday.
Hey, you got Tommy DeVito. You can't go wrong with Tommy Cutlets, man. Yeah, Dallas. Wow, what a we got wild end.
2 minutes of that game.
My God. That was insane.
Dallas should not have won that game, but Washington's kicker made sure that they won that game. Good grief.
I mean, tackle McLaurin, somebody. And Seibert is like one of the better kickers in the NFL.
Not on that Sunday.
No, he missed 2 extra points on Sunday. That was wild. And MK, everybody likes to talk football in the beginning of the show, so we're lost in the NFL mid card apparently to start the show. Yeah, that was fun to watch.
We're not talking about that Thursday night game. We're moving on.
Oh moving on. We got a Steelers fan over here. I'm nodding the wrong way, doing my doing that.
Don't make me come over there, JB.
You got to hop on a long flight to do that. So. Dom, top talent under 30, ranked by under ESPN. Hey, Dom is impressed by leaps and bounds, and
he's definitely not the best 30 under 30 in professional wrestling right now. But I'd put him somewhere in the top 30. That's
he's in the
fair.
Discussion.
But I sure as hell ain't putting him at number 1. That's ridiculous.
Mark Cho, don't get me started on Dom. That's funny. And then Ozzy with his prediction for Thursday, 30-7. That's Buccaneers. I don't know what the hell. Cyber and hip injury. I didn't realize he was hurt. Yeah, they should have went for 2. Should have, considering they were gifted that McLaurin touchdown Holy cow! And my Bears lose yet another heartbreaker. Week 2 of the new offensive coordinator. Offense is looking good. It's just the ball is not bouncing their way this year.
Y'all need to use Swift more.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Well,
think you guys. I don't think you guys utilize him nearly enough, and I think that's when it hurts your offense.
yeah, they like to use Roshan at the goal line, and he's got 6 touchdowns on the year, so I guess he's a good goal line back. But it is what it is. The Bears and the Huskers are very similar football teams in terms of stuff, but finally the Huskers got over the hump and are bowl eligible for the first time in 8 years. So that's amazing because they only had the longest streak among all the power conferences of no bowl. So that's good to see finally. So Kaimi Fairburn, usually a reliant kicker there. MK Texans missed a chippy. He's usually a reliant one, and they're ready to run him out of town as well. So, ah, football. I love football. I hate football too because in my big money league, I was up big, and my opponent had fucking Saquon Barkley. I'm like, are you kidding me? Will you stop? Will you stop? I watched a lot of classic. I watched, Brian Zane, Matt, the
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Wrestling with Regret. I've been sick since Wednesday. All of a sudden it hit me on Wednesday, and then it really hit me Thursday. So I called in sick Thursday to work and trivia. I didn't host trivia either. So I basically been laid up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I finally got out of the house and did some stuff on Sunday. And boy, I watched a lot of Wrestling with Regret. Watched a lot of old Starcade reviews, some old WrestleMania reviews. I'm watching a lot of old wrestling this weekend. So, of course, a lot of people are going to lose their old wrestling pretty soon with the WWE Network going away.
Yeah, for good. Worldwide, it's gone. Then January.
And that sucks because I think that, I would have loved to have a library to go back at a certain date, like on a certain date of Nitro and watch it, and I doubt Netflix is going to bring that back. I don't think Peacock never made good on that promise, right?
Peacock has a decent amount of the library up, guess comparable to what people are
That's
looking
good.
for, but it's definitely not on the level of what the network has, and I'm sure Netflix isn't going to have it either.
No, I
So
doubt it.
we're just kind of
Oh,
like
well.
I've held on to all my WWE physical media in terms of
Yeah.
DVDs and stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like I'm a lot more okay with it than a lot of other people are going to be, but yeah, it kind of sucks for people who are relying on WWE Network for their for their backlog library of content. It's not gonna be around anymore.
All right, let's kick things off with what happened on Saturday. AEW Full Gear live from New York, New Jersey. It occurred this past Saturday. A very for a pretty I would say, Matt, I'd say a pretty decent 0 hour. That four-way was tremendous. Buddy Murphy defeating Dante Martin, Commander, and Beast Mortos. Beast, man, for a big guy, that guy can do some insane shit. Anna Jay and Deanna was a good showing. Deanna around her hometown there. Steve Macklin was backstage. And then, of course, the Costco boys, Big Boom, who we learned via Fightful Select this afternoon that he had Big Boom AJ broke his foot prior to the match, but didn't want to disappoint the fans, so he kept it quiet and worked through it. And I wouldn't have
Mad
noticed. You,
respect, man.
right? I
Mad
wouldn't have
respect.
noticed.
No, no. There's no way somebody could have told me before that match like he's wrestling on a broken foot. I wouldn't have been able to tell.
Yeah,
That man, nothing but respect
yeah.
for what he did on Saturday night. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not a Costco guy fan or anything like that, but as far as I'm concerned, he's welcome back in AEW anytime he wants to be there.
Um,
Absolutely, positively.
the uh, third most, I think it was the weigh-in from Rampage. It was the third most streamed pro wrestling or most viewed pro wrestling YouTube clip of the year. Behind, I can't remember who was second. The leader was Joe Hendry's NXT debut that got 16 million views, and then the weigh-in, I think it was, or maybe the promo on Wednesday. They had a promo on Dynamite that got 11 million views. So that's telling you that there are people that were interested in the thing. I had no idea who these guys were on Monday.
I didn't know who they were either until I saw them on an earlier 0 Hour this year, and I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not a
Yeah,
TikTok guy, and I hear
I
that's
have it
where
just to
I hear
pull up
that's where
videos.
they've
That's
I
about
hear
it.
that's where they've generally made a name for themselves. So like, I had never heard of them, but clearly they're popular, and clearly there's a lot of people out there that like them, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who had never heard of AEW or didn't watch pro wrestling who tuned in for the first time on Saturday for 0 Hour because of these guys.
Yeah.
All positives as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, it's the exact, it's the exact same thing of why WWE has Logan Paul.
Yeah, but
You bring it in.
my friend Scott on Blue Sky came up with he called Big Boom AJ the anti Logan Paul,
Right.
and I think that couldn't be more accurate. Like, he seems just like a genuine good dude
Yeah.
that just loves professional wrestling and wanted to come over and help out. Lend his credibility to help out AEW, and I just thought, you know, breaking your foot and still going through with the match and everything. I was just mad props to that guy, man. For
Yeah,
real.
it's very much so. Yeah, I had no idea who these guys even were going into it. I'd never heard of the Rizzler either, and my buddy Chris told me about him, and just I guess they really just started getting famous at the beginning of this year, um, and now
Yeah,
do
I
social.
was right. I was right in the play-by-play for Dynamite on Wednesday night for WrestleZone, and I was like, they announced the Rizzler for the ring announcer, or in parentheses, whoever that is, because I seriously, I don't know who the freaking Rizzler is. I know who he is now, but
Yeah,
as of Wednesday, I had no clue who the Rizzler was. But apparently, he's insanely over by just doing this
yeah,
or
and
whatever. Like, whatever, man. Like, more
he
power to you.
he knew when the camera was on him. That was for damn sure. And hey, man, props to Big Justice. Nice spear on
That
QT
spear.
Marshall there.
QT sold the fuck out of that spear, man.
He did. That was good. So I got a little more familiar with these guys since Monday's show when I said I have no fucking clue who these guys are. Got a lot more familiar with them leading up to Saturday. I thought it was very enjoyable, a lot of fun. I obviously they're going to be back at some point. There's
I
no,
would assume they'd have been back even quicker if he hadn't had a broken foot. But
yeah,
what can you do?
yeah. Here we go. The main show, kicking things off with Private Party, bringing back shots. I told Mikey Ruckus, I go, please keep shots. This, this kind of, they have more identity with this type of entrance in the
I
music.
actually really liked their new theme. I have nothing against shots, but I thought their new theme was really good. So
It's just that there's nothing to it, nothing to them. This is what makes them kind of more unique, and I kind of like that a
well,
little better.
Isaiah
But
said on the media scrum afterwards that due to the reaction they were going to keep shots. So
yeah,
that
yeah.
seems to be the idea for them going forward.
Going back into the chat, Ozzy saying January SmackDown will be 3 hours. Yes, I do believe so.
That's the
Uh,
rumor anyway. Like,
yeah,
Raw will probably be close to 3 hours, and SmackDown's going to be 3 hours. And oh my God, like, we don't have enough wrestling on weekly right now.
the
Let's tack on 2 more hours.
Peacock the deal with Peacock ends in 2026.
Yep.
And then MK says with the introduction of the Raw Intercontinental Championship for the women, that gives WWE a total of 12 titles on the main roster. Stop telling me AEW has a lot of titles when it only has 8. That's a good point.
Yeah, Look, I've never been a proponent
You,
of the too many title theory for any company, because to me, the more things that are there for people to fight over, as long as you're utilizing the championships properly, then I don't have a problem with it. What I do have a
yeah,
problem with is when the title, when they forget about a title. Like,
yeah,
for example, like the Raw tag team titles right now that Balor and JD McDonough hold, that they've held them for like 150 days and they've only defended them one freaking time.
yeah,
You've forgotten about those titles. You know, that's a problem. If you're going to have all these titles, just make sure you're utilizing all of them. Don't just forget about the Raw tag team titles because the SmackDown tag team titles are doing good. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense to me. You can have good tag team wrestling on both shows. And when Raw has the teams like New Day and stuff on there, don't tell me that you can't put together a good tag team division on Raw and make
yeah.
sure that those titles aren't regularly defended. At this point, I hope the War Raiders win those damn titles when they finally get the title shot they earned like a month ago.
I assume they
And
will.
hopefully we can actually see something done with the division on Raw moving forward.
Is Sarah Logan hurt or just not bringing him back because they're not really doing a Viking gimmick so
I
much?
can't remember. I think she might be injured again.
Mhm. I like that they
Say,
went back. I like that they went back to their ROH roots. I know Triple H, knew that, and when they were the Viking Raiders, even War Machine people were, or not War Machine, but yeah, they were War Machine back in ROH, and
yeah, they were War Machine and ROH, but obviously WWE is not paying for that trademark.
no, and they didn't want to use
So
war, but now Triple H should have control. They're not worried about petty little things that Vince was worried about. So, MK saying, "Boom, AJ was great, second biggest pop of the night." Yeah, they got some.
crowd was into all of it, man, all of it.
Yeah,
You can say what you want, but that live crowd don't lie, and that live crowd was excited to see that stuff go down.
yeah. MK saying that Tony Khan said the whole thing started in January. That's what. Yeah, I looked him up on Wikipedia, and then like this spring they got signed to an agency or whatever and became full time content producers. So this is what they do full time now, which is insane. Um,
God
but
bless.
yeah. Oh yeah, MK is including the two speed titles that nobody cares about because they don't
You
even wear
should.
the
They
damn.
count.
I know, but they should wear the damn belts on Raw and SmackDown.
I don't understand. Like, if it's a championship, why they're not wearing them on Raw and SmackDown? Just because they're not being defended there doesn't mean you can't wear them. Balor and
Remember,
JD wear their tag titles and they never defend them.
yeah,
So
remember how long the Intercontinental title was ignored? Jesus, way
yeah,
back in the day.
yeah. Unfortunately, but no, I think it's great for the women. I hope they utilize everything properly. I think this is to me this is a positive as long as WWE treats it as such.
Yeah. We got Private Party defending their titles in a four-way against the Outrunners. Another big pop there. Kings of the Black Throne. Another big pop. Gigantic pop for Malachi and Brody. And the Acclaimed, who are clearly fracturing.
Good.
And I know Matt's happy about that.
Good.
This was a damn good match. I think Matt, all the way from Maryland, started a "fuck you, Caster" chant,
Oh,
which which
that
reached all
crowd
the
that
which
crowd
reached up to
captured
New
my
Jersey.
heart right at that moment. When that chant broke out multiple times in that match, I was just like, I love this crowd. I
When
love this
Buddy
crowd so much.
when Buddy won and the crowd was so over on the House of Black, man, I was really starting to wonder if Private Party's reign was going to be short, but it wasn't. Uh, Very good match, as you could expect with a chaotic four-team tag team match with Rick Knox refereeing. You can expect it to be chaotic. Private Party did get the gin and juice on Max Caster taking the pin. I know Matt's happy about that.
Yes, it
So
was
no short
perfectly
reign.
booked.
No
Perfectly
short
booked.
reign for Private Party. Thank
I,
God.
I would have
I
been
mean,
I would have been furious if that they dropped the titles on
yeah,
Saturday.
If it
That
was
that
House
that
of
would
Black,
that would that's a
I wouldn't have
that would
been
have been a
as
slap in
mad.
the face of everything the Young Bucks did for Private Party to just first title defense drop them in a 4-way. That would have sucked.
Can we just start pushing House of Black singles right now? All three. I mean, there's
I
enough. There's enough
honestly,
singles titles to go around.
I think I like Brody King in the Continental Classic this year, but
He's my dark horse.
I think that spot should have went to Buddy Matthews.
He's a dark horse.
Especially
Yeah,
since
I agree.
Buddy won that 4-way, Black Taurus lost and he's in.
Yeah,
So to me, I think Buddy Matthews should have been in a tournament over Brody
that's
this
a
year.
good point. But we'll get to that in a little bit with our picks.
Oh,
Next up
I
is
don't have any picks for that yet. It's way
you
too
know
early.
well yeah no you never know.
Well,
We'll see
we'll talk about the field, but I don't have I don't know what my finals are yet.
Next up, MJF and Roderick Strong. Very good match here, as you can expect with these two wrestlers here. We don't see MJF too much anymore. He's more of a special attraction kind of lately. So it's good.
He's been out filming Happy Gilmore too.
That's right. I cannot wait to see that movie. But very good old school type of match, working Roddy's arm and shoulder. That came into play when he fell into the salt of the earth, and then Roddy, no hesitation, had to tap after about 13 minutes. What were your thoughts on this match here?
It was exactly what I expected it to be. I wasn't overly hyped about this match going in.
That's why the crowd was kind of dead for it.
Yeah, and I think the crowd felt the exact same way. Like, everybody knew Roddy wasn't winning, and it was just another chapter in the story between Cole and MJF. So yeah, the match was fine, but like, I wasn't particularly excited about it, and I really couldn't tell you much about the match itself. A couple of days later, it was what it was.
MJF brings in a chair and stomps the chair on Strong's arm. Adam Cole coming out way too late, along with Bennett and Taven. Gee, what took you so long there, Cole? Then Kyle O'Reilly came out, shoves Cole down, saying that this is Cole's fault, that Roddy had to take that chair shot, which is probably going to lead to an O'Reilly Cole match somewhere down the line, which you thought was going to happen on Saturday. But they are kind of slow burning that. Maybe that'll be a World's End match, possibly. What are your thoughts on this whole O'Reilly thing kind of being intertwined with the Undisputed Kingdom?
I think it's a much needed chapter that they had to tell.
It did Cole come out late on purpose?
No.
Why
would the Kingdom come out? Why would the Kingdom have come out late as well?
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
Let's see here. Oh, Mark Show thinks the speed belts have the X logo on them, and that's why they're not on TV. I don't know if that'd be it, but they mention X all the time on TV, so I don't think that would be it. John Woodmass, thanks for joining us. Does anyone remember Electric Six Danger High Voltage? I do not, but he did quote Happy Gilmore. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Just ease the tension, baby. Now we're getting all sorts of Happy Gilmore quotes in the chat. Mark Cho,
man.
Mark Cho. He's shooting movies while Roddy's mom was out shooting his dad. Mark Cho. No. Mark Cho JF. Matt's reaction says it all. Screenshot that. He's giving himself the iron claw. I'm trying not to laugh too hard because I've been sick.
This is where we are.
He's talking MK talking about the Continental. I would have had Sammy, Pack, and Matthews and KO instead, but C2 will still be great. Yes, it was a tremendous tournament.
Honestly, we'll be talking about it after Full Gear, but personally, just real quick.
See, here's the tease.
I didn't think that the field could be better than what they had last year, and they, in my opinion, they topped last year's field. So I'm super pumped for what we're going to see out of the Continental Classic this year. I think it's going to be really great.
TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander. And I've been shitting on Mercedes matches a lot lately. I got to say this was by far Mercedes' best match in AEW. I thought this was a damn good match. 20 minutes it went. I thought it was perfect, and Mercedes looked tremendous. You know,
This was
I don't know why.
it's probably my second favorite match on the show.
You know, I don't know why a lot of Mercedes matches just have not clicked in AEW.
I think the only one that didn't really click was the match with Baker. And I felt like the finish to her rematch with Sheeta was kind of wonky, but the match
Vakir
itself, like
one
the
was
first 90% of the match was really good. And then like the last minute or two of her rematch with Sheeta was really weird. But I thought she had a great match with Valcor. I thought she had a great match with Nightingale. I thought she had a great match with Statlander. She's had good matches in New Japan this year. I think people are just putting way too much of a microscope on the Baker match, and because that's technically AEW's WrestleMania, so that's what everybody's insistently remembering.
I wasn't honestly impressed with her in the Vakir match either. I was more impressed with Vakir than I was with Mercedes, and I didn't really know who Vakir was at the time, so I don't know. Miles, thanks for joining us. Miles says this year's field is way better. No Eddie Kingston. Miles must not be an Eddie Kingston fan.
How dare you? How dare you, Moose?
Do not tell Kate that. She'll kill you. So Mercedes Moné with the win. A very good match. I said it last week. I think Camille's going to dethrone her. Matt, you still on that?
Yeah, I was just going to tell MK who dethrones Mercedes at this point. It's Camille.
Yeah,
that's what they're setting up. Camille is the one to dethrone Mercedes.
Camille's going to be tired of her shit.
Yeah,
she's already starting to get tired of her shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, MK on the chat says, "Who dethrones Mercedes at this point?" I book Athena to beat Moné at All In. But no, yeah, it's going to be Camille.
It's way too long. Way too long. We could have Athena and Mercedes at All In, but it shouldn't be for the TBS Championship unless that's held by Athena at the time.
Yeah,
which could happen because if Athena doesn't drop that damn title to Billy Starks at Final Battle, what are we even doing?
My God,
Athena better be moved to the AEW roster in 2025. Drop that freaking title at Final Battle. I want to see Athena on AEW programming next year. No more. Get her off of Ring of Honor. I'm tired of it.
716 days. Holy shit. December 10th will be 2 years exactly.
She's got to drop it to Starks at Final Battle. She has to.
Athena's only the 4th champion ever, too, by the way. Roxy being the first one.
Yep.
Right.
Roxanne
Deonna Purrazzo and Mercedes Martinez.
It's a pretty good field of champions, if I do say so myself.
It is. Yeah, look for Camille to take that. Jay White, Hangman Adam Page. These guys had a damn good match too, man. This was no surprise. Two of the top talents in AEW. I did predict this one. I felt like a push for Jay White was coming, and sure enough, it was. We'll talk about the end in a little bit, but first, let's talk about this match in itself. What were your thoughts on Page and Jay White?
Hey man, it's Teflon, and yep. I know that's weird to say. But to me, he's Teflon. He could take any loss, and it's not going to matter. He's so freaking over, and he's so entrenched in the main event scene of that company. Like, he can lose 6 months in a row, and then a month later, he can compete for the world title. People are like, yeah, I can see that. Because losses, there's just some wrestlers in this industry that losses do not affect them in any way, shape, or form. And I feel Hangman is on that level right now. This was a much needed back-to-back pay-per-view win for Jay White. And if White's now going to be involved in the AEW World Title picture with Moxley, and they should do a 4-way at World's End. It should be Moxley, Cage, White, and Page. I don't know if that's the direction that they're going,
What
but
about Darby?
Darby's in the Continental Classic.
Oh, that's right.
So technically speaking, he shouldn't be going for the world title at World's End because he should be looking to be in the finals of the Continental Classic at that pay-per-view.
Which is so weird that I saw him in that. I'm like, anyways, we'll get to that in a little bit, but do you foresee? I thought about this just because, especially with the end of what happened on Saturday. Do you foresee Hangman and Omega reconciling with the Bucks against the Death Riders? No.
No, I see the Bucks and Kenny eventually burying the hatchet when they have the tag, because I think it'll be Omega and Tanahashi against the Bucks at some point. I thought that was going to be the Wrestle Dynasty match, but this Cape Kid thing changed things. Maybe they'll just have a tag match at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know. Like,
Could.
but probably not. I think Tanahashi's facing Evil that night, so I doubt he's going to work double duty. But yeah, I see Omega and Tanahashi facing the Bucks at some point, and I think after that, Omega and the Bucks will bear the hatchet. I don't ever foresee Hangman back on the side with the Bucks and Omega at any time soon. I really don't. I think Hangman is a character right now that is designed to stand on his own.
Yeah.
And I think he will continue to stand on his own for the foreseeable future.
And Miles we'll talk about this after we get done here, but I just noticed this, Matt. Miles is actually on Twitter, so the Twitter comments come through. That's good.
Yeah, that's cool. We didn't have any last week, so I appreciate knowing that works.
Yeah, gold. Yeah, that is loaded. They're both loaded, dude. That'll be fun to talk about here once we get done. John says Pac should be champ by now. Well, he was international champion for a while, so
Pac's great. And he's trios champ right now. So honestly, I think Pac would have had more singles gold by now if it wasn't for the pandemic, taking pretty much a year of his AEW career away from him, and his injury a couple years later taking another year of his AEW career away from him. So like 2 of the 5 years that he's been with AEW, he's been sidelined for various reasons. And I think that is the reason why Pac has not had more championship gold in AEW in that time frame.
And maybe he's talking about the world title. I don't know. It is possible, but he's in a good spot right now. He's in the top faction in AEW right now, so he's not in a bad spot. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher. I mean, we knew this was going to be a damn good match, but holy shit!
I wrote on Blue Sky after this match. I love Will Ospreay to death. I've got my Bruv shirt on right now and stuff, but I think sometimes he's too giving in these matches, and I think he just needs to just tone it back one notch. Just one notch. Just relax. Like, you're young. You have a long career ahead of you. AEW wants to position you as their guy for years to come. Please don't kill yourself doing these things that you're doing, and us, heaven forbid, not having you in the future. Please just calm down. Like, just I'm not saying scale it all the way back, but just take it down just a notch. Just a notch for your own like well-being and long-term protection. Relax, Will, please, for me. For the fans. Just chill a little bit.
Yeah, otherwise he's gonna be like Bryan Danielson in 5 to 10 years.
He could be, and I don't want that. I don't want that for him.
That tombstone off the
dude,
turnbuckle onto the steel steps. Holy shit! Was that
the trust that those two men had to have in each other to execute a move like that is insane. Insane. I don't normally yell at my TV when a move's about to happen, but they were setting it up, and I looked at my TV and I'm like, no, don't do it, reverse it, don't do that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what are you all doing? You like,
oh, That was so
You
insane.
messed that up by like an inch, and it's
Yeah.
game over for Ospreay's career. Like unbelievable, man, just unbelievable.
Fletcher became like maybe the second person to ever kick out of the hidden blade. Um, and then that brainbuster off the top turnbuckle to end it. Oh, that looked brutal. That was insane. This was a battle, and these guys both came to win. And Nigel said it best at the end. This is the biggest win in Kyle Fletcher's career.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, obviously.
I don't think I picked Osprey. I think did you pick Fletcher or you pick Osprey?
I said I thought they were going to put Fletcher over. I didn't want, and
Yeah,
I didn't want
you
them
didn't
to,
want it.
because
Yeah,
I still think there's a lot of legs on Aussie Open, and I truly believe that Fletcher's going to get lost in the mid card shuffle in 2025, and
yeah,
I just, that's just the way I feel. Look, and we at this time next year, I could be saying how wrong I am that that Kyle
yeah.
Fletcher's still in the top mix in AEW at this time next year. But I just have a feeling with all the top talent that's about to return for AEW in the coming months, I just have a feeling that he's going to get lost. I really do.
Right after that, the Mariah May can't have any friends segment. A segment I saw a mile coming a mile.
Yeah.
You could just
Dude,
tell
Mina
it was.
hitting that spin kick was dope.
Yeah, it was.
That was to me, that was the best part of the segment. To have the accuracy to hit that in high heels, that was crazy.
And then the tackle onto the table, which went onto another table, was pretty good. And just the craziness of Mina with blood coming out of her mouth and everything. And
I
you know,
want I want to believe that was a blood capsule, but I'm not 100% sure that it was.
I think it was, but just the way
I'm,
it was,
I want to believe that it was a blood capsule.
the way it was showing, I think it was a capsule. Man, I would love to say Tony Khan saying Mina Shirakawa is all elite, and then she takes the title from Mariah eventually.
Well, he said
Um,
on the Full Gear media call before the pay per view that he hoped to have her around a lot more going forward following the pay per view, because he's worked out something with Stardom. So I expect to see her a lot more. I believe that her and Mariah will be the title match at World's End next month, and I believe Tony will be back in time to get her rematch with Mariah at the Australia show.
yeah,
So
and that don't need it, and
I think Tony
that
will
doesn't.
win the title back then.
Oh, I was gonna say
So
that honestly, if Mina wins, I mean the Tony Mariah doesn't need a belt. That's a good
it
feud on its
doesn't,
own.
but I expected it will be.
TNT Championship up next. Jack Perry, Daniel Garcia, and this just added. Yeah, this added Matt Menard on commentary is so good. He is so good on commentary, and it even adds to it when he's doing Danny Garcia matches, because he's biased, and so I think having Menard on commentary added a lot to it. But no dancing Garcia. He's Red Death here,
Well,
and
he still does this.
he does the
He
pose
just
on the
doesn't. Yeah.
turnbuckle. He doesn't dance anymore. Once he dances again, the fans will love it. But maybe now that he's champion, he'll do the dance. Maybe Wednesday he'll do the dance for his championship celebration.
Oh, he's ain't no time to dance. He's right in the Continental Classic, man.
Yeah,
So
which he needs to right a lot of wrongs from that, because he lost a lot. He didn't even have a win there, did he?
then he
Or did
got
he have one?
his last
That
match was
last
that
one.
big win over Brody King.
Yeah. So good to see Danny Garcia with a singles championship. Well deserved. We both predicted it last week's show. And a very solid match there, but it was great to see Danny. I love the vignette at the beginning too, with playing a voicemail from his mother, and I thought that was really cool, like a different type of vignette to kick off an entrance. I thought that was really good. But it's good to have Danny holding TNT title, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, well deserved. I thought he should
Very.
have had gold multiple times this year.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him finally get it.
A match, still good. I thought it might be a few notches better, but still it was a decent match for the International Championship. Konosuke Takeshita against Ricochet. I thought it was a decent match. I was.
This was my least favorite match of the show. Like
Why is that?
I didn't click.
No, it didn't.
And
It didn't.
I don't know what happened. I was super hyped for this match. I was thrilled when it was officially announced on Thursday night. But just something about it didn't click for me, and I don't know what it was, but this was my least favorite thing on the show.
I said on Twitter, I go. Fletcher and Osprey are going to tear the house down just to build it back up, so Takeshita and Ricochet could tear the house down, but they didn't. They didn't reach that level at all.
No, my
Um,
two favorite matches of the show were Osprey and Fletcher and Mercedes and Statlander.
I probably have to agree with you on those. We don't rarely agree on the best matches of a pay per view, but I think I almost have to agree with you there on those two for the night. Next up is Takeshita, of course, retaining. I part of me was wondering, but of course you got Okada's in the Continental, obviously. Eventually, we're going to get Okada and Takeshita somewhere. I just don't know where we
I
can
would
put it
have
now.
strapped up Ricochet and put Takeshita in the Continental Classic, but they did the
Yeah,
opposite. They did the
yeah.
opposite of what I thought they should do. But I still think Ricochet in the Continental Classic will still be good. But I would have put the title on Ricochet and thrown Takeshita in the Continental Classic.
A pretty good match between Lashley and Swerve, but more of a statement just to
Yeah.
show how
No,
dominant
this was a good storytelling match,
needed. It needed this
and I
needed
thought
to
I
happen.
thought this was great.
Yeah,
Like
this
it wasn't
needed
like
to.
it wasn't like a blow you away match, but but the body of what it represented and what came out of it.
Yeah,
Oh, I loved Strickland and Lashley. I thought it was fantastic.
Strickland, like you just said with Hangman, he's Teflon. This
Yeah,
is not going to hurt him, but building up the Hurt Syndicate this way is what needs to be done. And if they ever do add another guy, like I said, Ricochet is probably the best guy to add into that right now. But this was what had to be done. And I'm glad you agree with me on that. Then after the match, they put Lashley put Nana in the submission, the hurt lock as well. And so there you go. Main event time. John Moxley, Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Championship. And this was not a very long match in terms of main events. They went 20 minutes. Good. I thought it was a good length. There was I thought there were some great moments in this match. I thought, though, I did not expect Orange to win this. There were moments where I thought maybe I was going to be wrong. So I thought they did a good job in terms of some great near falls. And then it got, everybody coming out. Willow Nightingale coming out for the women to take
which
on
is
Marina
great
was
because we
kind of
haven't seen her since she got concussed. So
yeah, yeah.
really nice to see Willow back and in a main event title picture return to. Very very cool.
The conglomeration coming out to try to even the odds as well. So that'll put marks on their backs now for the Death Riders.
No, they already had
Probably
marks on their back.
that's true. In all the chaos, one guy we hadn't seen yet, Wheeler Yuta, he came out and hit the Busaiku knee on Orange, and that was the final nail in the coffin for Moxley to hit the Death Rider to get the win. And then after the match, it was wild fucking west. Holy cow. It was insane. Hangman came out to the ring to stare down Moxley, which was like, first off, he lost. I'm like, why is he coming out? I didn't quite understand that. But still, it was kind of weird, the shock of him coming out, because I didn't expect him to come out. Then Christian comes out, possibly wanting to cash in. Jay White screwing that cash in. And then they got then Death Riders got the hell out of Dodge after all that. And then Darby Allin I'm wondering if he got busted the hard way on his head. Knowing
Oh,
him,
he
who knows?
absolutely did.
Yeah,
He's
cra-
insane.
crashing that car into the Death Rider mobile. So then they had to GTA another vehicle to get the hell out of Dodge. And Darby just bloody out on his forehead, just climbing up on the busted up SUV. And man, it was. What'd you think of the end of
I
Full
thought
Gear?
I thought it was a great ending. I said going in that they couldn't have like another down feeling to close out the show, and they needed to go out on a high note. And I thought all the crazy chaotic things that they put in at the end really helped the show
Yeah,
go off on a high note to make people excited to tune into Dynamite on Wednesday. I thought they did a good job with that.
MK saying, "Do we get non MVP?" I'd like to see that actually. I would. I wouldn't
On this
mind seeing
train,
that.
if they want to do
Yeah,
it, they could do it.
yeah.
So
I'd like to see it. Um, I thought Full Gear overall body work, very solid pay per view. Not too many complaints from me. It wasn't a best of the year type of deal, but it sure as hell didn't suck. I
no,
thoroughly
damn
enjoyed it.
good pay per view.
All right, we only have about 3 minutes before we got Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about the AEW Continental Classic real quick here. And here is your Blue League. Kazuchika Okada, let me get rid of the caption here. Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, Mark Briscoe, Shelton Benjamin, Beast Mortos. I figure Okada's probably going to come out of here.
Yeah, I was gonna say this bracket looks like a foregone conclusion for Okada to reach the finals.
My dark horse would be Shelton Benjamin, though. But yeah, I'm expecting Okada to go out of there. But still, geez, that's a loaded bracket there. Kyle Fletcher, man, we're gonna see Okada and Shelton Benjamin. We're gonna see Kyle Fletcher and Shelton Benjamin. We're gonna see Daniel Garcia and Shelton Benjamin.
I'm honestly looking forward to seeing the Beast Mortos versus Okada.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting dynamic.
I think that's gonna be bonkers.
In the Gold League, we got Darby, Claudio, Osprey, Ricochet, Brody King, Juice Robinson. I figure that Osprey is going to be the favorite out of this. Baby Darby. My dark horse is Brody King. If I'm on my House of Black singles push, which I'd love to.
Osprey makes the most sense, but you just never know for sure.
Claudio with the Death Riders backing him up too. You could never throw him out of there either. And finally, well, this won't take long to talk about. There's only 3 matches on the card right now.
Announced. I'm sure they're going to announce some more on Raw tonight, but yeah.
War Games Survivor Series is this Saturday, live from somewhere, Vancouver, British Columbia. Let's start off with the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest against Gunther. I don't expect Damian to get this back, unfortunately.
I think he should have, but the way the story has gone, there's no way he's going to. He's punked Gunther way too much. And if they just lose, if Gunther just loses after all that, then he's destroyed. Like they did Vince McMahon type book into him if he loses on Saturday. So when this match was announced, I was like, they should think about putting the title back on Priest, but the way the match has been built, they can't put the title back on Priest because it would absolutely destroy Gunther's aura that they've built for him over the past couple of years if they did.
Yeah. Women's War Game match, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley replacing Jade Cargill, who appears to be legit injured, but they did a write-off segment on Raw, or was it SmackDown? Last week. I'm still thinking that she injured herself to screw Bianca, but then
not with all the injuries that the storyline angle saying she suffered.
Yeah.
WWE put out a report on Saturday of all the injuries that she suffered in the attack, and with all those injuries, you couldn't have.
Who done it?
She couldn't have done it to herself.
I've got 2 done it. I got 2. I got Bayley, and I've got Alexa Bliss.
I think Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan could have done it. I think that whole team could have done it. Just War Games.
They're taking on the Judgment Day, Nia Jax, Tiff Stratton, and Candice LeRae. I think the good girls are going to win this, Matt.
Yeah, I think Ripley needs to get this win.
That's because I think the bad guys are going to win the men's war game match.
Yeah.
Either Paul Heyman or Sammy Uso screw
I
the
think
OG bloodline.
Sammy's turning the cell phone. I keep pointing back to the cell phone. When all the OG bloodline was
You
watching
didn't want
Solo
to
come
believe
out,
it.
he pulled the cell phone out and threw it on the thing. He changed Paul Heyman's number. Sammy's a turncoat. I hate it, but that's what they're gonna do. And real quick before we roll, the reason why we're not getting Cody and Kevin Owens this weekend is because WWE is terrified doing that match in Canada. Cody Rhodes would be booed out of the building against Kevin Owens. That's why it's being delayed till Saturday night's main event.
That'd be it. Hey, help support Lost the Midcard. We are now paying for the restream. We got out of StreamYard. We're doing restream, which I like a lot better actually. So help us pay for the costs, the monthly costs of restream. You can donate to us with that QR code there. It is much appreciated. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. It is time for Monday Night Raw. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good week. Have a good Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week with our thoughts on the Survivor Series pay-per-view.